Hello and welcome. This is Face's Opinion, being forced to clean the helicarrier because I annoyed Maria Hill by trying to slide into her DMs. Welcome you back to another video. Allow me to ask you a question, and no, it's not me asking you to subscribe. I'll ask that later, once I think I worked hard enough to earn it. A different question for you. What is the first thing to come to mind when I say the phrase mobile games? Cringy ads, microtransactions, misleading gameplay due to their ads. Looking at you, Merch Mansion. Many mobile games today are garbage, and I can understand why many may not like them nor consider them to be real games. For me, I do agree that many of the things I listed are rather irksome, but I would argue mobile games can be pretty good. As I remember in my younger days during the early and mid 2010s, mobile games out and around during that time were pretty good, as you had things like the original Angry Birds, Hungry Shark, Pocket God, and a few others that were iconic. However, for me, there was only one out there that I would say was the best out of all of them. That being Marvel Avengers Alliance. That was, without question, my favorite mobile game to play while I was in high school, as I would put hours upon hours into it, but before I start gushing and praising it, I should explain what it is exactly. Marvel Avengers Alliance was a turn-based social network game developed by Offbeat Creations and published by Playdom. It would be launched on March 1st, 2012 on Facebook, and would eventually be made available for both iOS and Android devices on June 13th, 2013, 15 months later. I never actually knew that it was originally a game made for Facebook, since I only played the iPhone version of it and never really followed the community for it. For the gameplay side of things, as I mentioned earlier, it is a turn-based game in which the heroes you control will be against one or more waves of 3 or fewer enemies, with each character having unique moves in which they can attack, apply buffs and debuffs, or use support items. There are 6 character classes: Blaster, Bruiser, Scrapper, Infiltrator, Tactician, and Generalist. The first 5 classes have a specific strength and a specific weakness to one of the other classes. Think of it like a rock, paper, scissors type thing. Blasters have a guaranteed critical hit against Bruisers and ignore their defense stats. Bruisers increase their stats when they attack or are attacked by Scrappers. Scrappers have a second automatic follow-up attack against Infiltrators. Infiltrators gain the ability to counter enemy attacks after being attacked or being attacked by Tacticians, while Tacticians gain an extra turn when they attack or are attacked by Blasters. Then we get to the Generalist, who has no special strengths or weaknesses against other classes. This is the rarest class, since the majority of heroes and villains are one of the other 5. Like, the only character that I definitively remember that was a Generalist was Punisher. There were a few more, but like I said, the number was very limited and small. Now, this game does have a story mode in which you can play, in which the player takes control of a new S.H.I.E.L.D. agent, who will be your OC for this, where you are dispatched by Nick Fury and Maria Hill as an unknown event known as the Pulse causes a strange material known as ISO-8 to emerge on Earth. This material has various properties, but its main effect is that it can enhance the power and abilities of the person using it. The player is charged with joining various heroes in battle to take down numerous villains who are all aiming to gather and use ISO-8 for their own nefarious purposes, such as Hydra, AIM, the Maggia, the Brotherhood, the Hand, Doctor Doom, and so many more. As the game advances, more heroes join the conflict as playable characters. It even gets to a point where all the villain groups work together under Doctor Doom, forming the Syndicate. Though a problem will come up when Hydra was eventually revealed to be using ISO-8 to resurrect Red Skull, which results in Magneto turning over to fight alongside S.H.I.E.L.D. For very obvious reasons I don't believe I need to explain. And basically that marks the ending of Season 1. While Season 2 leads to a change in your location, as you get to go to London and work alongside Excalibur, and must deal with events known as incursions. No, not those incursions, though I wonder what Atea does with that tongue. Incursions are space-time disruptions in which you fight people from different universes. You also have to learn more about the Pulse, which was the beginning of something far greater, as you now have to contend with the Serpent and his Worthy, which will be the big bads of this season, which is how the story itself ends, though there is a loose end or two to deal with, such as the issue of the incursions and the whereabouts of some of the Worthy, but we can talk about that a little bit later. Besides the story, the game also provides other events as well that you can enjoy, such as Spec Ops, PvP, and lockboxes. Spec Ops, or Special Operations, are a limited time challenge where players can earn unique boss items through battle and even a new hero by completing specified objectives. Once the time for the mission has expired, the hero is put back in the vault. These events usually last for a month, give or take a few days. There were a total of 36 of these, and certain characters you could attain would be the likes of Emma Frost, Ghost Rider, Ant-Man, and Vision, to name a couple. PvP. This one is self-explanatory. It is a special player versus player event in which players challenge each other in hopes of receiving exclusive rewards at the end of each season. The better you do, the higher the league you will be placed in and unlock the rewards for said league. There was a total of 32 seasons, and certain characters you could attain if you reach the highest league of a season would be the likes of Deadpool, Punisher, X-23, and Domino, to name a couple. Then our last activity is the lockboxes. These containers are full of items including new collectibles, comic book covers, among others. If you manage to collect all 8 covers, a new playable character will be unlocked for free. Usually the new character is a villain that will join your side. There was a total of 30 lockboxes, and certain characters you could attain if you collected all of a villain's comic covers would be the likes of Magneto, Taskmaster, Sandman, to even Doctor Doom himself, to name a very small amount. As you can see, Avengers Alliance offered many different things. It even managed to get a few follow-up games, such as Marvel Avengers Alliance Tactics, which was made exclusively for Facebook on June of 2014, but would be shut down a few months later in October of that year. While a mobile-only sequel would be released, Marvel Avengers Alliance 2, on March 30th, 2016. Both of these games were 3D unlike the original, but just like Tactics, it would only be out a few months, and in September, the sequel would be cancelled on September 30th, but for a different reason. I played Avengers Alliance 2 for a little bit, but I never really got into it as much as I did the first one. But little did I know that Avengers Alliance 2 would not be the only game getting shut down, as the first game would also be discontinued on September 30th, 2016 as well. Why? One word, and it is a word of pure, unadulterated evil. That by saying it, the temperature in the room drops by 5 degrees, the devil himself will blush, and I must watch my back or invoke the wrath of an entity so dangerous that the YouTube overlords fear themselves. The evil I speak of is none other than Disney. That's right. Unsurprisingly, Disney was the one who ruined Avengers Alliance because, of course they would. They ruin everything else. It's not surprising when Disney took control of Marvel Studios properly in 2015, things started to change. Then a year later, Avengers Alliance reaches its endgame. Why did Disney pull the plug on it? Your guess is as good as mine. This was the same company that pulled the plug on other popular Marvel properties like Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes and Spectacular Spider-Man, and then replaced them with inferior shows like Avengers Assemble and Ultimate Spider-Man. One theory that comes to mind is that some of the Spec Ops missions revolve around certain movies that were coming out during the time and did not want them to be spoiled, but I don't know if I believe that, since Avengers Alliance and the MCU are different continuities. Things will be greatly different from one another. Yes, some Spec Ops follow some of the movies such as Iron Man 3, Thor the Dark World, Captain America Winter Soldier, Guardians of the Galaxy, and Ant-Man, to name a few, but they had some sizable differences between the movie and game counterparts. So I don't truly believe this one. Though, knowing Disney, I would say that they canceled it because they want all their Marvel properties to be more, how to phrase it, more connected to the MCU, to have more closer ties to that. Take, for example, Marvel's Avengers, that crappy game that came out a few years ago, on how the main Avengers team in that game consisted of, and looked very similar to the actors who portrayed them in the MCU. That is not a coincidence. They are/were trying to use and draw fans to it by using their fondness of the MCU variations of those characters to get people to play their game. But if you want people to play your game, the best way to do that is to make a good game, but hey, that's just me. Avengers Alliance was a good game. Was it perfect? No. One thing I wish it did was make it to where previous Spec Op missions would return on occasion, instead of being one and done events. Something else I have issue with is I wish I got to enjoy this game in its entirety. As I mentioned earlier, I only played the mobile version, particularly the iOS version, and in that version, Season 2 was never released. As a matter of fact, Season 1 was never fully completed. Each season consists of 12 chapters, and for the iOS version, the last chapter of Season 1 was never released, which irks me to this day. Now that I think about it, I never saw anything on the mobile version that said that it was getting shut down. Every time I tried to open it, nothing ever loaded and worked, me not knowing the servers were offline indefinitely. Maybe something was stated and I don't remember. This was 8 years ago, and going off my memory, and as a result, I might not be a good narrator. All I do know is that I never played Chapter 12 of Season 1. As a matter of fact, I had to look up online a synopsis of what happened in Season 2 so that I fully properly know. If anyone played the Android version of it, let me know how it was for you, if you had the same issues as us iOS people did. But I will repeat myself and say that I did enjoy what I got with Avengers Alliance. I learned a lot more about the Marvel Universe because of it. To be honest, I think they could have made a Season 3, as there were some plot threads from Season 2 that could have been followed up on. I don't know if one was ever planned, then got cancelled due to Disney being, well, Disney. Maybe DC should make their own variation of it. That would be pretty cool. Anywho, tell me, what do you think? Do you like Marvel Avengers Alliance? What was your favorite aspect of it? Do you think it deserved better? Do you think it should be brought back? Do you hate Disney? Tell me in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like and subscribe. Until next time, I'll catch you all on the flip side.